On this week's show, we talk about the Peloton tread recall.
And we will recap Homecoming and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 37 of Pelo Buddy TV. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey now. What's up, Amanda?
Hey, it's so good to see you. It's good to see you. It's been a while. 2 weeks seems like a long time.
Yeah.
Although we did have our really fun Instagram Live last week. Wasn't that cool?
That was a lot of fun. It was nice just doing something, on the fly and having Tony, our guest Tony and Jules there, and responding to a lot of you in the comments on Instagram. It was fun. I hope we do more of those.
Yeah, I really did. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please let us know. I have to say the interaction from all of you was amazing, so we really appreciate you jumping on. We know that it was a crazy weekend, and so many of you made time to jump on the Instagram Live. Of course, you can go onto the Instagram page of Pelo Buddy, and you can actually pull the live. It is on there. We saved it and archived it, so it is on there. And basically, folks, what we did was we just really did a follow-up on the keynote that John Foley gave. But boy, after this past week, it does seem like it was forever ago, right?
I know. Everybody kind of had a homecoming hangover on Monday, I feel like, and now we're just getting back into the normal rhythm.
I think you are right. There was no question. I mean, I have not worked out so hard as I did last weekend. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. I thought the spacing out of the classes was amazing. The different platforms that they had, I think, were brilliant. I know you're going to talk about it in the news, so I don't want to take that away. But it was, you're right. Monday was definitely a rest day for sure. My legs were toast. But yeah, it was fun, and of course, for all those moms out there, happy Mother's Day. I know in the UK you guys have already celebrated it, but for Canadians and I think the Germans celebrated this weekend too. The Canadians, the Germans, the US, happy Mother's Day. And hope you all are spoiled, whether it be time on your devices, your treads, or your bikes, or just time with the family. And thank you for making time, whether you're watching it live or whether you're going to go back and take a look at the show later, because it's a show you don't want to miss. There is a lot of information that we are going to share, obviously, in today's show. So with that, we always like to remind you in how to keep up to date with all of our content on all of our platforms. As you guys know, every episode is released on YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand corner of the video and never miss an episode, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we're also on all traditional podcast platforms. So if you prefer to listen to us in your car or on the go, just search Pelo Buddy TV. Make sure you click subscribe, hit notifications so you never miss an episode. And if you like the show, if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a review. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We always appreciate your feedback. So let us know.
Yeah, we actually had an amazing one a couple of weeks ago, John, when you were away. Glitter Strategy, David W. sent in a really fantastic review. So thank you for that again. And folks, please let us know whether it's stuff that you want to see, whether it's stuff you want to hear about, or whether you think we're doing a good job. John and I really enjoy doing this. And, it's nice to get the feedback that you guys are enjoying it, because we do put quite a bit of effort into producing this, and of course our back end folks, Chris and Richard, and of course Chris Lewis. So thanks, guys. Of course, we are on Instagram and Facebook. I know that most of you follow us on those, but if you don't, just search Pelo Buddy, follow us on those platforms so that you don't miss anything that's breaking. And with that, I guess let's just get on with the show.
Let's do it.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Well, Well, John, our highlighted story this week has to be the controversial voluntary recall of the Tread Plus and the less expensive Tread, as well as temporarily stopping all sales of these devices. Wednesday, the Peloton community was in a complete tiz when it was announced that Peloton has decided to adhere to the CPSC statements of an unsafe device and recall both the Tread Plus and the less expensive Tread. As we've reported on the show over the last few weeks, the Peloton community had learned of the unimaginable death of a 6-year-old child. And now we are being told that there are 72 reports of children and pets being injured by being pulled under the device. We have since learned through reports that the less expensive Tread also has a manufacturing malfunction in connection with the tablet. It becomes loose and falls off. Whilst there haven't been any reports of any injuries, there's no question that that's a safety hazard and it needs to be rectified immediately. In the statement, the CPSC indicated that members should immediately stop using the treadmills and contact Peloton for a full refund. In a subsequent statement, as well as in Thursday's third quarter earnings call, John Foley has said that members are able to request a refund or have the service team actually come out and move the Tread Plus to a more desirable location if the member chose. So if folks were concerned about where it was placed in their homes, there would be no charge in moving the Tread Plus to somewhere else. For members who do not want a refund, it has been suggested that they wait until modifications have been made before using the devices. In Thursday's third quarter earnings call, Foley assured members and investors, though, that Tread material would continue to be produced, so that once the Treads are back in use, there will be new material for members. Of course, folks, one can still use the app, both outdoors and on other devices. So I think it is important that new material is being produced timely and as we go on, so that folks are able to utilize different platforms if they choose.
And new material, you mean by Peloton's going to continue producing class content?
Exactly. So
because I know one of the rumors, one of the false rumors that was circulating was that all of a sudden there's going to be no more content produced, no more live classes, which is not the case. The normal schedule that we've all been used to for the Tread platform is continuing. So just to make that clear.
No, 100%. Yeah, thanks for that clarification, but that is true. And look, we have instructors that are just Tread instructors, whether it be Tread and Strength, and that's what they primarily do. So they certainly have, and we've seen this past week that there has absolutely been new material. And of course, it is entirely up to the members' discretion as to whether or not they want to continue using their Treads. Both you and I, John, have them. We clearly know that we keep our Treads in a safe place and are cognizant of it being a huge 500-pound piece of equipment, and should certainly not be available for kids to play around or be around, as they wouldn't be in a gym if kids aren't permitted into a gym because of those exact reasons. So I'm not going to harp on what we discussed previously. I think what's important in today's reporting is really that we were obviously all notified. It was something that was certainly controversial. There was a lot of back and forth from the community as to how folks felt. I think Peloton did the right thing. I think that they had to be, forefront in making that decision and letting community members decide on their own as to what they're going to do. I know you and I have discussed this, John, and mine's not going anywhere. I'll certainly be careful. Yeah, I'm
going to continue using my Tread. I'm not going to wait. We use it responsibly. But I know when we went away to Mexico, I did pull out the safety key just so Jackson wouldn't be tempted to, do a run, and I, put it in a locked room where he couldn't get to it. But
right. And as you know, John, so now what they're going to do, and we're waiting for it to be launched, but it is going to be, there is going to be a code that one will be able to just input in order to start the tread. It'll be a 4-digit code where you'll be able to put that in, and that'll be the only way that the tread will come on. And they are going to do
unlock
that
it.
over. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
good.
I think it makes sense, and I'll go on to tell you what Foley had said. But for folks, if you aren't aware, members of the tread community are being offered 3 months free on their subscriptions, and I guess that's just to placate the fact that they're trying to deter folks from using it. They do want folks to still obviously use all the other amazing aspects of the platform, but they are looking at that as being some form of compensation for folks not being able to potentially go on their treads if they choose not to. Interestingly, though, too, John, that the launch of the lower cost tread has been paused, and truthfully, they're saying indefinitely at this point. I think they really want to make sure that before it gets released in the States, that they have obviously fixed everything that they need to. It had initially been reported back at the second quarter earnings call that the tread would be launched at the end of May. So I know for lots of folks it's going to be somewhat of a disappointing bit of information because folks waited. They didn't purchase the Tread Plus because they were waiting for the less expensive tread. So we understand that, there are going to be people out there that are going to be frustrated. But I think that Peloton and John Foley have made the right decision in making sure that safety comes first and that they have addressed all the concerns of, what they have been brought to our attention. I don't know if most of you are aware, but the Tread Plus was only on sale here in the US, and they have sold over 125,000, which is an incredibly huge number of treads. So, my heart breaks because obviously that's a huge investment that Peloton have put out. Again, just from the chatter that I've seen, I've only heard of one person that I know that's, going to do the recall and send theirs back. For most folks, they are going to keep them. I mean, I don't know if your community, from the folks that you're friendly with, you've heard the same thing.
A couple members that I saw are taking advantage of the recall purely because of a situation with them relocating. I didn't see anyone deciding to do the recall because they felt it was unsafe. They just were relocating and they were planning on repurchasing it.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anyone that didn't feel like the safety provisions that they're going to put in place wouldn't be sufficient enough.
Right, makes sense. Ironically, and I did have to chuckle, my last payment on my tread, because I did pay my tread off, was yesterday.
Nice.
Literally.
Yeah, I got a few more. I still get that Affirm email.
I'm like, okay, I guess it's paid off. We could recoup. But no, I mean, I bought it because I like the device. While I'm not a huge runner, I've seen my son, who's 24, loves to use it. And I'm desperately trying to push my husband onto it and have him use it more. But I'm certainly not returning it.
The 3-month waiver is nice. I always like a little, waiver of that monthly fee. So I'll gladly accept that. It's a nice gesture.
Absolutely, it certainly is. So I mean, the lower cost tread, as we know, was available to folks in the UK and Canada, and they had sold 6,500 of those. So a lot of hardware was out there, and I guess we'll just wait and see as to how this gets solved and what folks end up doing. ABC's Good Morning America had an exclusive interview with John Foley on Friday morning, John, and Foley did acknowledge that they had made a grave mistake with not engaging with the CPSC at the time that this was brought to their attention. He very sincerely said that member safety is, of course, of utmost importance, and that Peloton's goal is not only to be innovators in the fitness category, but also leaders in product safety. Strahan had asked him if he had reached out to the family who had lost their child, and he said, of course, as a father himself, that was his first instinct. The family were not ready to speak with him, but were comfortable him sharing the death and alerting other members. So they did want that to go out there, and hence, obviously that's what Foley did. As soon as he found out, we all got a letter, those of us that own the tread, notifying us. And he, in that community letter that he sent out, he shared the news with us. He did say that he would still appreciate an opportunity to meet with the family, to offer his condolences personally. I have to tell you, John, I've always been impressed with Foley, but after hearing his interview Friday morning, I was beyond moved. We are a family. Peloton is a family, and this could not have been easy for him, his management team, as well as the company. You've seen the community support. You've seen the community support that everybody has, and this is a product that's supposed to bring, us joy and happiness. Certainly it did for thousands upon thousands of people who needed an outlet in the crazy year that we all just experienced. So, it's so bittersweet because while of course we're all devastated for what has happened, it's just, it makes us stop. It does give us pause. But the nice thing about it is knowing that we are a community, and that is something that I have certainly seen and want to acknowledge publicly, that I am blown away by the sincerity that I have seen, and how, he was so apologetic in saying, I won't curse, but saying, I screwed up. I should have, been on top of this. I wasn't. I didn't think that it was going, I didn't recognize, the magnitude of what this entailed. And the minute we spoke with the CPSC, we realized we needed to, kind of get our act together and figure out how we were going to protect our community and our members. So yeah, I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at to have a listen to the interview, but it is up on the Pelo Buddy website as well as Instagram and Facebook, and go over and listen to him, because it was definitely something that made me feel, you and I say this each week, how could we love it any more than we do? But you know what? It just shows. And folks that, were bashing how it was dealt with, upsets me. It really does, because I think that, nobody predicted that anything like this was going to happen. So yeah. Any thoughts that you have?
No, I think I didn't see the interview yet, just from what, you told me, but I like how they've taken ownership and they've owned up to the fact that, yes, they made a mistake and they take full responsibility. And I think putting it in our hands to volunteer if we want to return it. We have until the end of November to decide, so we have a pretty long time frame.
6th of November. Yeah. November 22. Sorry, November 22. Control room's telling me. Yeah.
All those things I think are adequate, and the sincerity of him really comes through in all his speaking engagements. You can see how passionate he is. You can see how vested he is in the company and our well-being. And
I have to say, John, I was actually really disappointed with the interview. I mean, here he was given an exclusive interview. Not disappointed with John Foley.
Strahan.
Yeah. I'm not a big Good Morning America. I don't watch it. Don't watch it. But I will tell you that I almost felt that he was trying to catch him. He was
to trip him
up. And I was disappointed, and I was so proud to see how he held fast. I mean, he was almost brought to tears at one point in the interview. And I have to say, so look, that again is my 2 cents. I was disappointed in how it was conducted. I felt that he asked him about lawsuits and and Foley, I thought, answered it incredibly appropriately. He said, look, we're going to get sued. There's a class action suit. We all know that there's a class action suit that's out there, and we'll deal with it. And we'll deal with it the most appropriate way we can. So I did like the way that he wasn't going to let the questions, unnerve him in any way. I was really impressed. Interestingly enough, though, John, timing is everything, isn't it? Because the statements and the recall happened just one day before the third quarter earnings call. So, of course, we did see the Peloton stock plummet on Wednesday. The stock had, it had been tanking over the last few months just with all the shipping and delays, in supply and supply chain, etc. It had been at an all-time high back in December. So in December of 2020, the stock price was at $171. But we had seen it start to fall in March already. On Wednesday, it had dropped below $80 a share. So I know some of us got out when we could, real quick. Others are using it as an opportunity to, take the dip
Scoop
and
up,
buy. Scoop some up. And I think they should, because let me tell you, I have no doubt watching the community rally around what's been going on over the last week, that it's a company that's going to stay around for a while. There's nothing, we're not going anywhere. Jill Woodworth, CFO, also, she was on the same track as me, John. She didn't seem too concerned. On a lighter and happier note, though, there were some takeaways from the call. There was a teaser that they were recruiting new Australian instructors. So for those of you that like Kira's accent, and I am not Australian, for those of you that haven't got to hear me often, I'm South African. A lot of people confuse me, but I do love the Australian accent too. And it looks like they are going to be recruiting new instructors. So whether that means that there's going to be a production studio in Australia and the instructors will be in Australia, time will tell. But that was something that they kind of teased in the earnings call. We also heard about the possible launch in Mexico or Spain. And that would be for some time down the road. So that was interesting. Woodworth did go on to say that they were spending an extra $15 million on expediting shipping in hoping that hardware was reaching members in a predictable time in what folks were looking at pre-pandemic. And she said they were almost there. She said that they were almost there. So these long waits, and obviously this is now for the Bike and Bike Plus. Bike Plus is still a little bit longer. She did say that was still a little bit longer of a wait than the original Bike. But that they were definitely upping their game. And then there was also some talk about possible new hardware, as well as new languages in fiscal year 2022. So even on the heels of the recall and a rather, I'm sure, frustrating and difficult week for the Peloton management team and Foley, they did assure their investors that things were moving along, despite the unfortunate hiccup. So it was an interesting call. I know a lot of folks were, really eager to jump on and get to hear what was going to be said. And I think they handled it really appropriately. I mean, again, Foley started out the call. He was incredibly sincere and shared, everything was transparent and shared everything with the community and with the investors. I was pretty pleased with how it went down.
Great. Well, back to a recap of Homecoming.
More exciting stuff.
So, if you partook in any of the Homecoming festivities, the keynote address from John Foley highlighted some new big updates. So, just a quick recap. We have all the Homecoming details of classes, panel discussions, all that good stuff on the Pelo Buddy TV website. But just to give a quick recap of John Foley's keynote address from last Friday, a week ago, last Friday, we have new programs 2.0, new programs, new badges. Old programs are now in the system, though. And we have new programs like the second PZ program and the You Can Run one as well. We have now a Strive score. If you have a heart rate monitor, there's now an addition of this little extra metric called Strive score, which is just a non-competitive number based on your heart rate. So it's kind of nice when I'm pedaling or running, I see where my score currently is, and it has different color, corresponding color, depending on what zone, your heart rate zone you're in. So it's just kind of a nice little extra metric. And we now finally have target metrics for on-demand classes on the Tread and Tread Plus, which is nice because I've always liked that on the bike to see the cadence and resistance suggestions. So now that's for on-demand content for the Tread. Pause feature, which everyone was clamoring about, will be coming later this year for on-demand content. Obviously, you can pause it on the fly, and a new Scenic relaunch, which removed all the old Scenic classes, which I know a lot of members were unhappy about that it was just taken away. But now we've got virtual escape, guided distance-based classes, time-based content with a more cinematic approach, as John Foley described it. And I know Dennis, I haven't done any myself, but there's a couple of cool ones that I've seen clips of with Dennis and Matt Wilpers doing guided bike runs and a camera sort of following them along from different angles. That looks really cool. So I'm excited to try those out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to do those. I mean, that needed a revamp so badly. I know some folks were disappointed. I actually had a friend reach out to say that he was disappointed that there's no leaderboard anymore. So if you're doing a guided run, there's no leaderboard to follow. And he said he kind of liked it because he would like to, pass somebody if he was on a run, and he would, so that was interesting. Again, I haven't jumped on, so I could be stood to be corrected, but this was somebody that had reached out to me to mention that, which is interesting. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the leaderboard, there's a new filter now for special guest. So if there's a celebrity athlete in a class that they're featuring, they'll be listed, just like if you were to filter by tag or by somebody, your group of people that you follow, there's now one for special guest. And so the first guest that was featured was superstar runner Usain Bolt. So at the end of Homecoming, there was a panel that Becs Gentry was on that featured several famous athletes, including USAIN. And all of those guests, they'll be featured by Peloton as part of this recently announced Champions collection. So for that upcoming content, they'll be listed in that special guest filter if you want to see, if that athlete is on there. I requested Usain Bolt. I noticed he's got a private profile, so that request is still lingering, so I can't see. I did see he was on a Bike Plus, so I'm curious to see what sort of numbers he's putting up on that thing. But that's kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see if they get other celebrities, that give permission to be added on there, when you're randomly riding, because I know a lot of folks will get high fives, from Joe Jonas, from the Jonas Brothers, because he's a big high fiver apparently.
Oh wow, that's so cool! I didn't know that.
Cup of Joe is his leaderboard name.
And we certainly know that Usher has his bike, so maybe he'll start. We'll get
I don't
him
know.
on,
I haven't found out his leaderboard name yet.
No. Yeah, one of the things, interestingly enough, about the panels at Homecoming was for the German community, John, was that Irene Schultz was not on the panel that she was supposed to be on. So we're all kind of hoping that everything was okay, that everything's okay there. I'm not sure if she's been on any live. She's had the whole thing with being in Germany. And they were filming out of Berlin. Was my understanding. But for those folks, that was just brought to my attention that she was not on her panel. So we are hoping that everything's okay there. Yeah.
So she hasn't taught anything live recently?
I haven't seen anything. No.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, I didn't watch a whole lot of the panels. I did watch the Allie Love Usher one, and I was a little bored.
I was disappointed.
Wasn't for me. It was just, you know, like it was very well produced, but just
100% agree with you. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I was not impressed. Especially
kind of
being Usher.
Yeah,
especially being Usher. You thought that it could have been. And Allie, I mean, she's so charismatic. It just didn't, maybe because it was pre-produced. You know, they had produced it ahead of
it's
time.
It just felt very scripted.
Exactly.
You know, very overly, you know, maybe if it had been live on the fly, maybe it would have, that element would have added a little more to it.
Correct.
Would have made it a little more
like they did with the others. Where they had
being able to ask questions, and have that interaction. The one thing
I was just gonna. I know what you're gonna say, and I'm gonna ask it to you. I know what you did, John Pruitt. You were in those chat rooms.
Chat roulette.
You friended everybody. Tell me about those. I gotta hear.
Well, if you had a chance to participate, so they had the member chats. So it was basically like a virtual video chat with other members. And it was nice because they made it a 3-minute countdown, a 3-minute timer. So basically, if you didn't request to extend the time on your chat with that current member, it would just end. You know, the timer, once it got below a minute, you'd see it up in red in the top of the screen. And so it was just nice having that 3-minute timer. And I would just randomly, some people I knew, some people recognized me from Pelo Buddy, which was fun, and they recognized the leaderboard name right away. So it was kind of funny having random chats. And then one person I knew from the Boo Crew Cody group, which was fun, Danica, who's Pelosaurus Rex on the leaderboard. It was just a lot of fun. And Friday was a total fail because I tried doing it on my iPhone and my iPad, but apparently you couldn't do it on iOS devices like that because you'd just be muted, so nobody could hear me. But Saturday I just did a whole bunch on my laptop, and it was fun. Like the first one was I was a little nervous, weird. Like that very first connection, but after that, you know, it was just fun going through them. I didn't get lucky. Like Dennis was on there apparently. Some other instructors were popping in doing them, but I didn't luck out and get an instructor. But it was great to connect with members, and I did connect with a couple German members. One didn't know much English. I obviously don't know any German, but that was kind of fun trying to communicate back and forth. But it was cool. I like that feature. It was fun. That was probably my favorite of all the events besides the classes over the whole weekend. That was probably my favorite thing, just connecting with people, you know, being, you know, in the pandemic and we're not seeing each other in person or at the studio. That was a fun feature that they added.
I'm really glad. I probably should have given it more of a chance. I did one. I just thought it was a little awkward. You know, I didn't really know what to say. And then I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't do more, but maybe I should have. So yeah, that's good for feedback. That's good feedback for Peloton too. I know that they'd asked, you know, some of the surveys had asked about that. So that was definitely good feedback. Yeah. Awesome.
I liked it.
Awesome. Yeah, does that wrap that part up?
Yeah, that's all from my.
All right. So what we did see. Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to just steal your thunder with the next one.
Don't steal my thunder. Don't steal my thunder because I was really excited. You know that I'm a Lee-Ben. We're trying to figure out how we're going to call. You know, they always put the names together. Is it, you know, Ben Lee or is it Lee-Ben? But Ben and Leanne, obviously. But Ben Alldis is our new PZE instructor. So he has jumped onto the Power Zone platform and will be one of the newest instructors. And for folks that are, you know, heavy into Power Zone training, probably would have not worked out with Ben. I'm assuming just because they tend to stick with the Power Zone instructors. Ben is one of the most engaged instructors that I have come across on the platform. He is amazing, and he is all about community. I have never seen somebody that is so devoted to the community as he is. And it's a lot of work, you know. I look at what they put together, whether it be their Instagram posts or whether it be, you know, going on Facebook, but it's a lot of work to put those posts together, and he does an amazing job of doing that. So he was interviewed with Matt Wilpers on Homecoming, and I did get to watch. And, you know, John, for me, I was really excited to see Ben being added because I am a huge Ben fan. And I jumped on his premiere Power Zone ride, and I have to tell you, it's a great concept. It was something that just didn't appeal to me before. I didn't really understand it, to be honest. But he went through a lot of time and effort explaining how it works. And I jumped on his premiere ride. I did do his premiere ride, which was amazing. But it's a different concept, John, because, you know, you're really not looking at your leaderboard. You really shouldn't look at your leaderboard.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. Mm-hmm. That's the nice thing about it. I was always super intimidated back when I first started riding Peloton and Dennis started doing Power Zone. I didn't know what it was, but I was super intimidated by whatever Power Zone was. But people ask, how do you get stronger? How do I improve my output? Power Zone is a huge element to get that.
Correct.
To get stronger.
Correct. And you know something, it's not physically hard, it's mentally hard, because you really have to fall into those Power Zone slots. So that was something that took me, you know, so if you're so focused on output, don't bother doing it because it'll drive you insane. And it was something that I really had to kind of work my mind around. Take away my leaderboard, it's there for high fives, but focus on those zones. And it's hard.
Yeah, and stay in that. Yeah. I definitely lack that discipline. I don't do Power Zone a lot. Like, I've never done a big challenge or those week-long programs, but when I do it, it's tough to stay disciplined and take the competitiveness out of it, because it's not about, you know, getting ahead on the leaderboard. It's not about the competitiveness. It's about staying within that certain range and that zone the whole time. Yeah. But I do enjoy it. I especially like the Matt Wilpers ones because
Matt's amazing.
He does a lot of all request Power Zone rides, which is fun just because it'll be the most random mix of different music from all these different members. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So folks, if you haven't done Power Zone, they do encourage you to do that FTP test first, because that will then give you your zones in what you need to do. And you should be rested for it. I did mine and I wasn't.
Do your warm up first.
Yep. Do that warm up and then do your 20-minute test, and then that'll guide you into the Power Zone. And then on the platform with these new programs, there is in fact the new Power Zone program. So Ben released a warm up and a FTP test, so you're able to jump on a Ben Alldis FTP test. And then, of course, the program's now on there with all the instructors, but how to do it. And I'm excited. So Jeff Hyam was someone that I'd interviewed when the show first started, months back, and he's a huge Power Zone rider. So I was teasing Jeff. I said, "You finally got me. You finally got me. It just took that British accent to get me onto the bike and do Power Zone training." But I'm looking forward to that and just doing something different. So yeah.
Yeah, Ben's PZ Bangers has a nice ring to it for
doesn't it?
A new Ben program, yeah.
Yeah.
He can have that.
He can have that for sure.
So we had an Usher series just recently, happened last week, and Allie had a chat. We mentioned that with Usher over Homecoming weekend, but we also have some upcoming dance cardio that they announced featuring his music. There's no schedule yet, but it'll be a series of at least, one class, multiple different dance cardio classes featuring Usher. So that'll be fun. And then we also have a strength stack now. Jess Sims has taken over the monthly strength stack for May. She's got a recommended 4 days of high intensity exercise, and we have the full breakdown of each day's recommended classes of hers to take, as well as all the previous months, which included from Andy Spear and Rebecca Kennedy and Selena Samuela. So you can find all that on our Pelo Buddy website.
So for our German folks though, the Eric Jaeger program that he was doing, and I had Janina on the show in your absence. She was our guest co-host, and she was wonderful. But she actually had the privilege of having Eric come over to her house, and they're working out together. Yeah, so they're
made a house community. Call.
Well, they're 4 community members. There are 4 community members in Germany that are going to be doing this program with him, and he does come over, and that started. And I did see on Janina's Instagram, she had posted Eric in her house and them working out. I'm so jealous. How cool is that?
And sorry to step on you. The one cool thing about the strength stack, I know with Rebecca and Selena, I'm not sure if it was with Andy, but if you complete the entire series of classes and stick with it, which I did not because I'm not that disciplined enough with strength, they will select 3 members who completed it, and they will have a live chat on Instagram at the end of that stack. So Rebecca, she had messaged me. She wanted to bring me on. She's like, "Did you do it?" And I was like, "No, I don't deserve to be on there."
Yeah,
but it's kind of fun. They talk about their favorite classes that they did for that month for the program. So it's just kind of a cool feature to motivate you if you want to be a part of that. It's really cool being on a live with a instructor that way, because they're on live all the time, interacting with us, but to be kind of face to face with them virtually that way just is super fun.
That's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. So if you do it with Jess this month, you could be, Jess, she is on Insta Live a lot. So if you want to have a chance to chat with her about this month's strength class, stick with the program. I know I probably won't. I probably won't complete it.
That is a great motivator, though. I think that's an awesome motivator. I'm glad you shared that. Yeah,
just a cool little tidbit.
Yeah, so interestingly, John, we may be seeing a possible documentary on Becs Gentry's marathon training. She actually teased that as something on the panel discussion that she had. So when she was on the panel discussion, she did mention at Homecoming that she was possibly doing some kind of documentary that was being done while she was training for her marathon. So I think that would be something really cool to see, especially because there are a lot of folks that utilize the platform to train for marathons. So that would be great to see how she did and how she went about doing it. And then despite all the controversy this past week, Peloton was named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential companies of 2021. It was highlighted, John, as the disruptor portion of the list. So Peloton was no question a disruptor in 2021, or at least 2020, in coming to the forefront in the health and wellness industry. So Time acknowledged them, and folks can head on to pelobuddy.com to get to see the list of everybody else that was on there.
Very cool. Well, we had a new class launch series this month, the Asian and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, APIHM. And with that, Peloton is donating $100,000 toward the Asian American Federation. And we've got APIHM theme classes all month. So it's ongoing. Some have happened already, some haven't. From Emma, Sam, a DT, Jess Sims, and a few other instructors. And we had a corresponding apparel drop with it as well, with some men and women's apparel. I know there was a hoodie that I saw, I think a unisex hoodie, and a men's shirt that Sam was wearing on the website, but some nice floral pattern style tops and you hooked up.
It was really cool. The floral stuff was amazing. I was a little bit bold, and the sage color one, I got the top and the pants. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. I may look like Big Bird. I'm not sure, but we'll have to wait and see. It's probably will be arriving any minute. But yeah, and it was a very cool drop. It was a very cool drop. I did get a couple things.
I haven't gotten any apparel since I was burned by that Adidas.
Actually,
jogger.
this I just got, this was, where is it? This was something new that was a hoodie, a tie-dye hoodie. And I like it because it's, I don't know if I'm in the frame, but I like it. It's lightweight for spring and for summer. It's just a lightweight quarter zip. But
nice.
I just got, that just came.
Yeah, I'm
some
still
nice things.
Still holding on tight to that last referral code that I think I still have left.
Yeah, I'm
just
all
waiting
out.
for.
I am all out, and I got to tell you, it's the most we've said this before. It's the most frustrating thing. I've just had 6 people get bikes and not use a referral code.
No.
I'm like, guys, seriously, 6?
That's the worst.
Oh, it makes me so angry.
No, the worst is when
Frustrated.
you have someone that you've told, a friend that you've told about getting the bike, and then they use somebody else.
I've had those.
That I take way too
Offense
personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've had a couple of those too. Yeah, that's worse than people not using the referral at all.
Yeah,
I agree.
those types. Yeah. Oh, I had to use my brother's code, or oh no, my husband got it for me. It was a surprise.
All right, no sourness.
Yeah.
We can't be sour. Whatever. We're pretty fortunate.
Sour grapes. Anyway, so in other little tidbit news, TechCrunch recently published a report that revealed some API that Peloton had a bug, and API stands for Application Program Interface for you coding folk, that allowed for you to see a lot of private profile information. So it included like your gender, city, weight, your workout statistics, leaderboard tags, and more. The bug had 2 issues. First, it calls to find out data that were unauthenticated, which means you didn't even need a Peloton user account to discover it. So there's just a lot of information that was out there. And then the second part of the bug was that certain API, they were returning profile information for members, even if their profile was set to private. So that information could also be found. So the vulnerabilities were largely fixed within 7 days. I didn't see a whole lot of chatter. I think everyone's really been consumed by all the tread, press that's been happening as of late. But anyway, that's apparently been fixed. And another news for our UK members, UK and German members, the Peloton app is now available on the Sky Q platform, which is a TV and entertainment platform that's run by the British company Sky. So now they're listed there under the fitness category. So basically it's like an Apple TV, Roku, Android type TV device, Fire Stick. So Peloton's now on that platform. I know we had mentioned that a couple weeks ago, that it looked like it was going to be added. So now it's on there for anyone in the UK and Germany that have Sky TV, Sky Q. And then Robin Arzon just recently announced on Instagram that she has her own masterclass on mental strength, where she'll teach the necessary tools to unlock your power. And she did a little tease with more details to come. So it'll be interesting to see, to check that out once it debuts.
Have you jumped on any of these masterclasses?
I have never, they're always in my feed.
Yeah.
But I've never actually bought one or done one. Have you?
No, I haven't. I kind of hinted. I'm hoping maybe I get one for Mother's Day. I haven't seen it yet, but I've hinted. There's the series. You can kind of buy the series and you can jump on a few of them. But there's some amazing cooking ones. There's the Annie Leibovitz photography one. There's amazing ones. So I'm glad. It's lovely to see Robin on there as well.
They're always running promos. Sales on them. I always see one for the documentary person, Ken Burns.
Yes.
His master class.
Yes. So that should be interesting. Well, yeah, I guess, John, that kind of wraps up the news. Obviously, it has been a little bit of a crazy week in the Peloton world. We're hoping that things will move on nicely moving forward, and we can get all the tread issues sorted and figure out what's happening. And that you guys just keep tuned into us, because we will tell you everything and keep you guys up to date as soon as we know the information, sometimes before others, which is good. So
you'll usually always hear it here first. HIHF, as I like to say.
That's us. HIHF. That is for sure. That is for sure. Well, John, why don't we end off with our picks of the week? Sorry, were you going to say something?
You got any picks of the week? Do you work out this week, Amanda? I know Leanne and Ben are off, so you were probably off as well, right?
Leanne and Ben took the week off. I mean, how dare they? I mean, seriously.
Have you been watching their Instagram stories? Ben apparently is afraid of horses.
Horses. Isn't that too funny? They are just adorable. And I feel bad because we're all pushing them to get that goddamn ring on her finger. And you know what? They need to do it. They need to do it in their own time. I've decided that it's done. I'm not saying anything. You know what? They're adorable.
Clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
But they're adorable, and they just need to enjoy. And good for them. Good for them to have a passion that they both are on this platform together, and they can enjoy it, and they can feed off each other. And they really are. They're an admirable couple. I have to say, they really are an amazing couple to watch. So good for them, and hope they're having an amazing time off in down at the south of London, south of the UK. They're
where I don't know that. I don't know that region. Where are they about?
Yeah, so they're down in the New Forest, and I'm probably going to be told by somebody I've said it wrong, but that is where they are. There's some beaches and stuff down there, and tons of bike. Okay. And it was so funny. The first day on their Instagram Live, they were both on bikes. And I said to Ben, I said, once a cyclist, always a cyclist. And he goes, I told Leanne I wanted my legs to be rested, and she insisted that we get bikes and we go through. So it was adorable. It was adorable. But needless to say, even with them being on vacation, I do have some picks of the week. And I will start off by saying that my first pick of the week actually was Ben's PZ, Premier PZ ride. It was a way for me to get motivated, to be started, and that was on Homecoming, on the Saturday of Homecoming, and of course that's May the 1st. So that was my first pick of the week. I think it was a wonderful way for somebody who's never done Power Zone training to get started, because I think that he was just incredibly patient and motivational. The music was fantastic, of course, because it's Ben, and so that was my pick of the week. And then Ben's getting all the love today because my other pick was his 30-minute Usher strength training. It was a full body strength, and it was to Usher. I mean, how can you not want to lift weights listening to Usher and Ben? So that was it was a full body, and it gave you an opportunity to really work arms and legs and core. So I really enjoyed that, and that was my pick of the week. I believe it was April the 28th, but I know that we'll pop it up here on the screen. It's probably up already, so you guys can see that. But Ben's Usher strength training. So I'm definitely incorporating at least 2 to 3 times a week now, and I'm doing it quite religiously, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, good for you. I'll definitely check those out. I have not done either of those.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple picks. So I always try to incorporate some boot camp because I'm a big fan of boot camp, and I wish I did more of them, but every time I do them, they're great. So my first one is from Homecoming weekend. It's from the last day of Homecoming, Sunday, May 2nd. It's a 30-minute 90s tread boot camp with one of my favorites on the tread, Rebecca Kennedy. Just lots of good 90s hits that'll take you down memory lane. You got Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back, and it starts off with DJ Cool's Let Me Clear My Throat, which are the standouts for me, but just a great 30-minute workout, flies by on the tread. And then a 20-minute rock run. I haven't done that many runs with Jess King, so give her a shot if you've never run with her before. But she's now, in addition to the bike, she's also been teaching on the tread for a little while now. But she did a 30-minute rock run from May 4th. And it starts off, there's always one song, I always mention, there's always one song that just reels me in, and it was the opener. It was AC/DC's Shoot to Thrill, which is just a nice, like, kick-ass song, and AC/DC is one of those artists they just started recently playing, because it's been, I don't know, I've never heard AC/DC on the Peloton platform before, so they just must have become unrestricted on their music platform. But just a quick 20-minute run, great playlist from a few different decades, and then a 30-minute classic rock ride with Jen Sherman from May 4th, which has got another great classic rock playlist. Grateful Dead, one of my favorite artists. She played a little Fire on the Mountain from that, and Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop stood out for me. So those three are my picks, the trifecta for me.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah. Awesome. And John, I would be remiss in not publicly wishing you a very happy birthday. You had a birthday just yesterday, and I hope you had an amazing day. Happy birthday. I
hope I did too.
Happy birthday from your Pelo Buddy fam. And I hope, and here's just another year around the sun.
Another lap around the sun, as Dennis would say.
Exactly. So, folks, that's it from us. We hope you got what you needed out of the show. We tried to give you all the info if you had missed some of it during the week, and give our perspective on what's going on. Not easy. Some of the topics not easy to talk about, but you know what? We want to make sure that we're presenting them to you and we're giving you the full picture. So thanks so much for tuning in, whether you did it on Facebook Live, whether you did it on YouTube, Instagram, or whether you're getting to hear us on the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. So for me here in rainy, wet Maryland, again, a happy Mother's Day to all those amazing, amazing moms out there who make time for not only their kids, but themselves. Good for you, and I hope you had a fantastic Mother's Day. So for me here in Maryland, bye for now, everybody.
And for me here in currently sunny Michigan, a happy Mother's Day to my mom, Cynthia Pruitt, and also to my Jackie as well. And we will see you all on the leaderboard, and bye for now.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.